Truth and Lies Through the Indigo's Eye. By Julian Wash. First posted on website in5d.com. Edited by Dmitrius. Some of the brightest people I've met seem to live in an insulated world, void of philosophical depth and any real grasp on reality. Why is this so? Layers of social engineering and debilitating chemicals in the air, food and water have most certainly played a role in creating this level of disengagement. And so it would seem that there are those who are rather keen on keeping us in a sort of dumbed-down, subhuman state of mind, where conformity and blind servitude are aptly rewarded over original thoughts and independence. After all, a fully realized and enlightened human race would be a force to reckon with. The docile and compliant are always preferred. In the following paragraphs I intend to peel back the layers of the enigmatic root vegetable we call an onion. Like an onion, the truth must be peeled back, layer by layer as you dig deeper into reality. Sinking your teeth into a raw onion will surely elicit a tear or two, and the truth will cause much trauma before the sense of peace and fulfillment is revealed at the core. So be it. But what does an indigo have to do with all this? Keep peeling the onion and weeping. The core truth. I think we too often accept our foggy disposition as normal, and that is a concern. We typically shrug off what we don't understand and move on to the next order of business. But why don't we understand? Why should there be anything outside our realm of comprehension? As I look around I see people walking about with gigantic brains encased in massive skulls. And the brain is folded over and over in countless convolutions so that the surface area is ecumized in a way to make it even more compact. If we were to hypothetically inflate the human brain so to fill out all the wrinkles, it would surely rival the size and shape of the elusive, big-headed extraterrestrial visitors said to have visited us. So I watch and wonder as to why we don't use it. We're told we're plugged into only perhaps 10% of our cerebral potential. Such a waste, don't you think? I propose we only use 10% because the other 90% is too busy trying to make sense out of the nonsense it's been fed. And the mind labors greatly as it learns to accept belief systems that flourish under the guise of truth. Ideas once grounded in reality are circumvented and exchanged into imaginary platforms and illusionary constructs. It's all by design and necessary for society to function in the manner that it does. This is a taxing endeavor for the mighty brain to tackle. We live our life on a stage built by those determined to tell us who and what we are. We are measured by our title, our wealth and our educational achievements. These are largely synthetic constructs that have little organic meaning. We inevitably surrender power to our masters, much like handing car keys over to a parking lot attendant. Our brain can be led astray and can even work against us so long as we allow someone else to push all the programming buttons. And so when we are told we are small, sinful and helpless little creatures, we've been well conditioned into believing it so. These are strident lies that the social engineers masquerade as truth. Tale of the onion. As I peel away the first layer I am reminded of the fragile, saty-esque skin that surrounds it. It's the first thing we see and touch, and it's how the onion chooses to present itself to the world. The old-timers will tell you that a thicker skin is harbinger of a cold winter. And so the onion speaks in a number of interesting ways, and it looks as though we may indeed be in for a long and cold one. As I peel my way through layer after layer, tears begin to well. Such repetition, I think, for every layer is much the same. There must be a prize at the end, I muse, a seed, pith, heart or core. But there is nothing more at the end than what was promised from the start. This might prove disappointing to one who would fancy a surprise after so much effort and anticipation. And the rings, oh yes, the rings, each circular and infinite in their own way, only add to the whimsical tale of this banded riddle. Maybe I'll fry some up. And so the onion is honest in all regard, every layer built upon the last to faithfully reproduce the essence of what it is. Societal institutions are constructed in a manner much like the onion, but with one striking caveat. The core truth is not faithfully reproduced throughout the extenuating layers. The societal onion might be pure at its center but shows signs of outwardly decay. The skin would do a convincing job of hiding the horrible truth that may be festering within. One is conditioned to judge this particular brand of onion from afar and accept its crisp and satin wrapper as proof enough of its purity and integrity. We are conditioned in a number of ways to embrace what we see as the unconditional truth. Those who want to pick it up and inspect it run the risk of being stigmatized as part of the lunatic fringe. The onion looks fine and so it is. No, you may not touch it. We intuitively recognize truth at the very core of a viable concept. But there are dubious concepts baited with a kernel of truth so that we pay them closer mind. Once pulled in, a free-thinking and aware person might begin to realize inconsistencies in quality and integrity as the institution migrates further and further away from its core truth. Some will already be roped in before such a discovery. But most will never see how they've been duped into believing something that had all the appearances of being truthful when in fact it may have been an agenda-driven, control apparatus. Governmental and religious institutions, for instance, will often bait your interest with an undeniable truth before making the hard sell as to why we must go to war or why we should be saved from original sin. These are tainted layers. They are not edible nor are they an echo of the original seed. Enter the Indigo Child. Rise of the Indigo. Ideas seem to run all over the place as to what exactly indigos are. I'm willing to guess that if you're visiting this website with some frequency and are able to resonate with much of its content, you may indeed be one of them. They've been called many things, but indigo suits me fine. They're not the relatively new phenomenon that's been suggested by some within the spiritual community. They have been around for thousands of years, although their numbers have been widely dispersed throughout the world, making them a bit of a rarity. They are, however, now coming into existence at numbers greater than ever before. This rampant influx likely gives the appearance of a new phenomenon, and so that might be the reason for this confusion. They are not new, but they are mighty, and they are now waking and returning en masse to answer a calling. The Indigo Child /adult is known for their sensitivity, hypersensitivity, emotionality and intuitive knowing. They are frequently misunderstood by others and are often considered aloof or in some way odd and unorthodox in how they see and do things. They love animals, are often vegetarian or feel a compunction to go in that direction, and can connect almost psychically with other species. They have a sense of oneness with universe and can see through the lies and deception orchestrated by the social engineers. The indigo can have a temper and may not always give the impression of being sublime and spiritually balanced. This is because the indigo is not a passive entity. They are here to observe and correct the injustices being done on this planet and want to proactively protect the benevolent souls who inhabit her. It's my opinion that the indigo is part of the Gaia defense system. She felt an infection and called upon her antibodies. They are psychic warriors and their vibration is hot and intense indeed. At the innermost layer of my proverbial onion I see the role of the indigo and understand why they are here. We live in a time when lies and deception have hijacked our most vital truths. One needs to go no further than the daily news to get a good whiff of that hands-off, rotting onion that looks so nice dressed in its shiny facade. We are often led in a false direction because a truth has been carefully placed along the path. Yes, just enough truth to bait our interest and sway us off course. Brilliant really. You just gotta hand it to those silly, meddling archons. It's not easy seeing through the cloud of deception that surrounds us. Gaia knows this. It's much easier to accept the programmed reality playing out before us and pay no attention to the smoke and mirrors that wreak havoc on our perceptions. But not so fast, says the Indigo. They have eyes that can see and ears that can listen. Their mission is to separate the truth from the tentacles of lies that suffocate it. Yes, they seem a little weird and different because they are. But for them, they are trying their best to fit in despite the difficulties associated with operating at a higher vibration. They realize they must fit in to be effective in communicating their urgent messages. Yes, best beware of the eyes of the Indigo. They will see right through those who will do harm to others, the disingenuous, the deceivers, the charlatans and the wolves who leer with blood-stained teeth neath the hides of slaughtered lamb. You're clear as light to them. They will know you by your deeds and actions and the energy you possess. The subtle vibrations in your speech, your smell and the very presence you exude will not escape the ultra-aware and keenly perceptive Indigo. The animals, plants and trees, even the tiniest insects speak to the Indigo. True as the rock along the path, the Indigo will note, it too imparts a language for those attuned to its vibration. And so the sun, moon and stars whisper their song into the musical ear of this child of light. It is to these energies they answer and not to implied conventions and artificial constructs that society promotes as normal. They are of the first religion and know the voice of Creator. So for the powers that think they are, your old tricks are running stale. Your templates of conformity will not capture the energetic expression of these entities amassing before you. Your hold on the Indigo is no greater than a fishnet at holding water. And so it is. Final thought. The global elite, it's been said, have all the money they could ever possibly need. Anyway, if they wanted a little extra they can just print it up or dial up some digidollars. So what else do they want, you might ask? They want you. They want to own you. They think they already do. They do not. But if you believe they do and you accept their conventions and their twisted philosophies, well, that's good enough for them. Just for fun, think of yourself as an object such as a car. You're of Italian descent, you say, great, then make it a Ferrari. The so-called powers that be will never see it as your car, as they consider it their instrument of wealth accumulation. But there's no need to keep your new car in their private garage so long as they hold title and you're good on payments. And if you believe you might someday own your car outright, well, think again. They still own the insurance companies that insure it and the gas stations that keep it fueled. They will continue to have stock and equity in their asset no matter what you do. But you're free to come and go as you please, but remember who owns you, baby. This is how the power elite think. And that's how they see you. Not as a person but as an object of sort, a possible asset or liability to their empire of domination. So it's a good thing your birth has been certified and a number has been issued to you, or you might not exist in their eyes. Phew. We're frequently baited into a lie, much like how a mouse is baited into a spring-loaded trap. That cheese sure smells good, then whack, no more little mouse. So if we consider the cheese as a morsel of truth, then what in the heck is that maniacal contraption that's built all around it? That's a question I'll leave with you. Suffice to say, we can be misled into willfully entering traps that can lead to our own demise, whether they are physical, mental or spiritual by design. The mouse was only guilty of being in a house that was not adequately sealed to keep such creatures out. The mouse was merely a messenger of this breach, and we know what happens to the messengers of this world. And when the trap finally sprung, the occupant of the dwelling might never come to know they had just killed a scorpion-eating, southern grasshopper mouse. Yep, the critter was all set to devour a whole nest that had been lurking in the master bedroom. But that cheese smelled just a wee bit better. Oh well, but please pardon my desultory philippic, as I am frequently guilty of such digressions. But what if we were able to attune ourselves in such a way where we could see the cheese and the spring and the board that holds the whole damn thing together? We can do this. For starters, stop watching television. For the last time, there is no real difference between Fox and CNN, so quit fooling yourself already. There is no political left and right, and your church does not have a license to use the name of Jesus without his expressed consent. And by the way, don't think for a moment he would actually approve of your church. If you think so, then I've got some beachfront property here in Arizona I'd love to sell you. Yes, at the very least stay away from that mind-numbing, death ray instrument we call TV for a year, then reassess how you see things. I sincerely challenge you to try it. You'll be doing the whole world a huge favor, I can assure you of that. Anyway, if you managed to trudge through this entire article, I want to thank you. You're the indigo I've been trying to reach. Yes, you child of the light. If you enjoyed, please share this with someone who needs to hear this message. Spreading truth and love is what defines us starseeds. Become a lighthouse in the darkness. Subscribe for similar videos on consciousness, truth, and spirituality. Peace and love, my fellow indigo truth seeker, you have my gratitude. Until next time, Dmitrius at Reality Files.